Okay, so this place, we used to come once a week. The first time we came in here was weird because we didn't know that it was where they cook it for you. And we hadn't been here in a long time. And she remember the kids being a tiny little baby whenever we used to come. So this is just kind of going back for us because we used to live here around this area. So this is what it is. Good food. And then they grill it and they cook it for you. Alrighty, we are one exit away from our destination, arriving home. So thank you for following along with us. Thank you for everything. Our kids are tired. Somebody had an accident. But it happens in all trips. So we just got to figure out which one of them it was. So thanks for following us. Thank you for being with us all this time and laughing with us and enjoying it. We had a great week. We're gonna start getting ready to wind up and go back to our regular week. So tonight you'll probably still be seeing some of the events with my church. So follow along. All right. We'll see you guys later. So I'm getting ready to go to our regional convention, which is a convention where all the ministers come from all the regions, all the areas in the region that we cover. Our region covers 5 states, Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, Louisiana, Arkansas, 6 states, and now a little bit of Nebraska, I think it is. So I'm getting ready. I have to translate for the preacher that is coming from Cleveland, Tennessee, which is our headquarters. And I don't know, I kind of like, I've done it. I've translated for this preacher, for this pastor before, so hopefully everything will be okay. I always get nervous. I always get, jittery because, I was telling my wife, what if this is the one that I mess up? We're driving to, I guess it would be, well, it's Farmers Branch, kind of in the North Dallas area. And a lot of people ask me this several times. They're like, hey, what is it that you do to prepare for translation? And there's really not an easy answer to prepare for translation. I got to prepare mentally. I got to prepare spiritually. I have to pray a lot. Like I pray because I pray like part of my prayer is, Lord, help me remember all the scripture that I know in English to be able to say it in Spanish, because I'm translating from English to Spanish. Names of people, names of prophets, names of cities, names of towns. I have to know geography because a lot of times these people travel a lot. They use illustrations from different countries, from different places. I have to know theology, of course. I have to know how to transliterate some of the stuff that they say. Some of the stuff that they say is not actually, it wouldn't make sense as I translate it. So in the process of doing that, of listening to them, I have to know kind of where they're going so that I can say it in Spanish in a way where it will make sense. The hardest part is when they start telling jokes, because some jokes just do not work in Spanish. And so luckily my dad has a lot of jokes, and then a lot of times I can, I guess you could say, edit and change and fix so that the jokes can make sense. And I know a lot of them, like when they start telling them, I already know them because of my dad. And so I already know how to fix them as I'm translating them. But yeah, that one time I was translating in Peru, and the preacher said honky tonk, and I was like, honky tonk? I was like, immediately. And so a lot of times I pray, a lot of times I just start reading words, and I start remembering things that I've learned and words that I've heard sometimes. I read a lot of Bible before the sermon, and I have to go New Testament and Old Testament because you never know. There's this one preacher that I translate for that I've translated the same sermon 4 times, and so every time he says open the scripture, I already even know the illustrations and what the jokes are going to be and all that stuff. So then there's other ones that they're just kind of like on the fly, and sometimes, like right now, I'm headed early, and I'm going to meet with them, and I'm going to meet with this guy, and usually my first question is, can I have your scripture? Sometimes they tell me, well, I have to, and I haven't decided. Sometimes they'll tell me I'm going to go here, and like 5 minutes before we go up there, they're like, okay, you know what, I'm going to go another route. And so there's really no way to prepare other than completely be practiced up on, like, if that's a word, in your English and your Spanish, ready to go on the fly, trusting God to help you. And really, this is for translation of anything. Like, I've translated just regular seminars where there's nothing, there has nothing has to do with Bible. And so you just kind of have to be mental. Now, it is hard because I'm going to tell you this because a lot of people don't understand this because they're like, oh yeah, you know, it's because you do it all the time and you grew up here and blah, blah, blah. It's actually a skill. And I'll tell you this because a lot of times people confuse it. I'm happy with the fact that it's also an anointed process for me where God has chosen me, and I'm a preacher and I'm a minister. But when you're doing English and you're doing when you're doing translations, well, see, this is what's going on in my mind. Number one, I have to open up my ears to hear what they say. Now, the problem with that is sometimes the monitors are not working, or sometimes the preacher moves in front of the monitor, so I'm really all by what I can hear close by him sometimes. So okay, let me explain it to you. I'm listening to him while I'm watching him, while I'm trying to read his lips, while I'm trying to figure out the words, right? So as I'm listening, my mind's already translating. My mind is already going, because sometimes they go short phrases, sometimes they go long phrases. So my mind's already translating, my mind's already trying to figure out. So as soon as they're done, I have to start spitting out what they're saying, and I have to say it in a way that it's understandable. Sometimes the preacher waits for me to finish, and sometimes they don't. When they don't, I'm not even done when they're already talking. So as I'm speaking, I'm already listening again, translating in my mind, finishing my phrase while getting ready to start the phrase that they just recently started. Then you do it all over again for the rest of the time. So it's actually challenging, it's actually a skill, it's actually a blessing to be able to do it. A lot of people tell me, oh, you're gifted. Yes, I will say that I am, but it also takes a lot of practice and a lot of skill, because I remember my first days, you know, they weren't as pretty and they weren't as beautiful, but God has been given. The other thing that I have to thank a lot is to my dad, because my dad was very harsh on us on our Spanish. Like, he was like, yo, don't say words that are not Spanish, don't mix Spanglish, don't do this, don't say this. And like every time to this day, my dad will tell me, you said this word wrong, you translated this word wrong. My dad's not a great translator, but he knows the words, but he can't do it live. And so that helps me a lot. And then the other thing is I went to good schools, so I learned the proper English. And so I am born and raised in Guatemala up to a certain age. Then my dad was very meticulous about our writing and our speaking. And so all those things help out to be a better translator. This is what's ahead of me right now. Crazy traffic. That's why I always leave early. I still have about 30 minutes to get there. The sermon is not the first part of the service, so I should be okay. So I can see the police lights ahead of me. We have all been waiting online. Don't you hate that? You've been following through. You can see the lights from half a mile away, and then last minute you want to switch. This is what's holding us back. Apparently there was a situation here. To me, all situations are major situations, and this is why. Because you never know what the other person's financial circumstances. A lot of people say, oh, it wasn't even big, why was it? You know what, I've been there before, and it's like, to some people, just a little bump, that means no work for a week. That means probably basic liability insurance, no rental insurance, none of that stuff. And so when you think about a little bump in your car that you have to leave it in the shop for 3 to 4 days, maybe a week, where you don't have a car and you have to borrow somebody's car, you have to accommodate with a wife or a husband, and then you lose money. So never say, oh, that wasn't a big deal, because yes, to the guy that has 3 cars at home, yeah, that's not a big deal. But what about that family that's the only car that they use, or that one and the old one, and the good one is now broken? And so just, I don't know why you've been ranting on this, but just be careful when you speak. Alrighty, so I am done with the translation. It was fun. It was hard. It was intense. It was Pentecostal. It was very satisfying. And now I'm on my way back home. I gotta come back and do it again tomorrow afternoon and then tomorrow night. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night, and then we'll be back at it tomorrow. So thank you for following us today. We'll see you later. Good morning, everyone. It is Friday. It is 1 o'clock, and I am starting this at this time because I have been editing all morning long. I have a video that I needed to turn in for a party that we're going to tomorrow, and I had not done any editing on it, so I spent all morning doing that. Right now we're going out to eat, so we will see you guys at Cheddar's. Chicken?
I know, and I told him, yeah, that means your chicken nuggets or your chicken strips are made of other chicken strips. I'm not, I'm just...
Why you gotta be so...
I'm just teasing you. Tease is scratch kitchen.
So we are at Cheddar's, and I'm not coming back to this one. I'm not even gonna give you details. I'm just not coming back.
I'm gonna try it, ready? Yeah, you can do it. It's bad, Mom. I've tasted it before.
It was good.
We won't come back, but it was good.
It was good. Sometimes
Broccoli cheese casserole and mashed potatoes. That's all we come here for. When we want that, that's where we come.
Yeah, even though it's bad service.
So as I am leaving the church, Brianna comes to me. Well, this is what happened. Brianna has been playing with it so much that it has integrated into her skin and it won't come off. It's all over her arm. It's been coming off little by little, but it is completely like it's like if we see. So you're gonna have to take a hot shower so that thing will melt.
You're gonna scrub.
I want to say thank you tonight also to you.
Quiero decirle gracias también a cada uno de ustedes.
Something else about me, as Pastor Fidencio shared, is that beginning January 1st, I will be the executive director for People for Care and Learning.
Otra de las cosas, como el hermano Fidencio decía, es que empezando en el mes de enero voy a estar fungiendo ya como director de este programa de gente para el cuidado y el aprendizaje.
And your reputation with People for Care and Learning
Y la reputación que ustedes tienen con esta organización
is very high.
es muy alta con nosotros.
I also thank the Lord for Arturo and for Maria Mireles.
Y doy gracias al Señor también en esta noche por
Are you here? Where
Arturo
are
y
you?
María Mireles. Si están aquí, no sé si están por acá.
I thank the Lord. I'm looking.
Estoy buscando.
I can't see back that far. God bless you. Thank you for
Dios les bendiga.
how your family has blessed People for Care and Learning. Rachel Mireles represents South Central Hispanic region.
Gracias por la manera en que ustedes han bendecido el sureste de Asia. Raquel Mireles ha estado haciendo un trabajo maravilloso allá.
She is loved by the Cambodians.
Ella es muy amada por la gente de Camboya
She is very effective in the classroom.
y es muy efectiva en el salón de clases.
And people are coming to know Jesus because of
Y
Rachel.
muchas personas están llegando al conocimiento de Cristo por Rachel.
You love on Rachel when she comes back. She
Cuando Raquel
is a
regrese, usted
treasure.
ámela y abrácela.